I thought you were done. Okay, well, I guess Anita realizes that her own fans called her out on her bullshit, so now she's going back and doing whatever the fuck anyway, which sucks for us because we're still stuck with her around. Fine, whatever, let's get into this stupid video.
Amazing.
My God, look at that.
Good night, nurse.
Oh, that's definitely stimulating my economy.
I'm not the only one that hates her intros, right? Like, they're the most annoying things on YouTube outside of Leafy's here in reaction channels. You know what's awesome about that? Not only is that the exact same music as the last time she showed that montage, but that montage is almost entirely identical to the last time she showed a montage like that. Hell, it's even the exact same footage. It'd be like me going on my YouTube channel, taking a video I made, taking out clips from it because I'm too lazy to go play the games I have in order to get the footage I need, and hoping that people will enjoy it. It's one thing if you're going to reference an RPG or an MMO where you either can't replay certain content, or it'll take literal weeks to get to the point where you want to reference. In that instance, I can understand getting bits off of YouTube and then crediting the uploader. Unfortunately, Anita doesn't really like to give credit to people, unless it's herself, of course.
In the late 90s, developer Rare wanted to replicate the success of their landmark 1997 shooter GoldenEye, but didn't want to make another James Bond game. Instead, they began work on a science fiction spy thriller called Perfect Dark. For the game's star, they wanted to create a striking new type of special agent who wouldn't just live in James Bond's shadow, so they drew inspiration from figures ranging from Joan of Arc to the X-Files' Dana Scully. Her name was Joanna Dark. A few years earlier, Eidos Interactive's Lara Croft had rapidly become one of the most famous and recognizable game characters of all time, so it was reasonable to think that an action game with a female protagonist could be a smash hit. Alas, Joanna Dark never quite reached the levels of fame occupied by Lara Croft, but Perfect Dark was still a big success. Let's take a look at a commercial for the game.
Wow, that was completely irrelevant. What exactly was that supposed to tell us?
Welcome to 2023. Big businesses now merge with alien nations. An ancient war is being fought under the sea. The president is about to be cloned. And it's your job to try and save the world. So you've got an important decision to make. What are you going to wear to work? From the team who brought you GoldenEye for N64, meet Special Agent Joanna Dark in Perfect Dark, where you'll find out that the only person man enough to handle a job like this is a woman.
Can you imagine an ad exactly like this, only with Marcus Phoenix or Master Chief getting out of bed naked, taking a sexy slow-motion shower, putting on his sexy underwear, and the narrator saying that he has an important decision to make? What is he going to wear to work?
No, I can't think of Marcus Phoenix or Master Chief doing that. You want to know the reason why? It's probably not an answer you'll like, but bear with me here. By your own admission in the games, Joanna Dark is a secret agent. Secret agent. Secret. Marcus Phoenix and Master Chief, on the other hand, are super soldier space warriors. When have either of them given a shit about stealth? Barging in and blowing everything up is what they do all the time. Joanna, on the other hand, is not a super soldier, nor is she a space warrior. She is a secret agent, which by virtue means that she'll be doing things in secret. How do you not get this, you stupid cunt? The whole point of being a secret agent is to not be conspicuous, which is the exact opposite of Chief and Marcus. Asking yourself what you're going to wear in a secret agent game, movie, or book isn't entirely unreasonable if you're going undercover.
Welcome to 2016. There's a war out there. Somewhere. You're not sure where exactly. Anyway, the important thing is you're Special Agent Jake Grimshadow. It's your job to save the world. The only question is, what are you going to wear? Wait, what? What?
You know, I gotta be totally honest with you guys. I haven't seen something that irrevocably stupid in a while, and I have to just shake my head in shame that some dumbass guy actually agreed to make that.
A commercial like that would never happen, nor should it, but Joanna is treated differently than her male counterparts. Even though Perfect Dark is a first-person shooter, and as a result you rarely see her in the game itself, by focusing on her getting dressed does add encourage players to think of Joanna's appeal as being rooted in her sexual desirability rather than her skill as a special agent. A character's clothing is one of the first things we notice. It's an important part of our first impression of who that character is, and as such, it's a way for designers to immediately communicate to players what is most important and noteworthy about them.
No, this is the same retarded point you tried to make in your body language video. Anita seems to make the shallow bitch approach to life and immediately judge everything based on appearance. Master Chief's armor is not the most important part of him, nor is his fighting skills particularly important. Throughout all the Halo games, the story progressively delves into the man behind the helmet and tries to delve into who he is as a person and how events shape him as a character. Excluding the disaster that was Halo 5 Guardians, if we look at Halo 4, Master Chief's relationship with Cortana and the close friendship they shared made for an exceptionally emotional experience. Chief, for the first time ever, seemed distraught, depressed, uncertain, and in the end, genuinely hurt. His armor didn't tell us that. The fact that we never see his face actually helps to make emotional moments even stronger, because we immediately think of him as a faceless machine, but in reality he's a person with feelings and is just as vulnerable as anyone else. As someone that's a fan of Tomb Raider, I can say that Lara Croft's looks have never mattered to me. She's much more interesting as a character, and frankly, when I'm in the middle of platforming, shooting, or puzzle solving, the cosmetic appearance means absolutely nothing. But what can you expect from a feminist? All they care about is looks. Which is pretty ironic because they're all so fucking ugly. Can you think of any guy that would date this bitch? Fuck, I wouldn't even date this bitch.
Female heroes in video games might be special agents or soldiers or treasure hunters by trade. They often find themselves in dangerous, physically demanding situations, fighting off bad guys and saving the world. They are typically performing activities that call for practical or protective clothing. But when we look at the types of outfits that female characters are made to wear, we can see that they're both sexualized and completely absurd. Ivy from the Soul Calibur games is a bold warrior who finds herself in battles where sharp, deadly weapons are being used, and protective armor would be a must, but the clothing she wears, or lack thereof, is not exactly intended to keep her safe. Cammy from the Street Fighter series is a British Special Forces operative whose thong leotard does a better job of calling attention to her butt than of offering any kind of protection. Jessica Sharawat from Resident Evil Revelations is a member of the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance, and regularly faces deadly infected mutants in combat, but her outfits appear to be designed for... yeah, I don't even know. And this is just a small fraction of the vast number of female characters who are forced into impractical and objectifying clothing while in dangerous situations.
Yes, they can be used in various situations. The only problem is that you exclude the nuance required to understand why those outfits are there in the first place. Now yes, there are some characters that are distractingly overly sexualized, but that is not true for the majority of the time. For example, Lara Croft is stuck in jeans and a tank top for all of Tomb Raider, unless you choose to put on the DLC clothing, but that's due to the fact that she's been shipwrecked, where it would be very unrealistic to let her carry around her entire wardrobe. But what I find so amusing is the fact that no matter what, she and other feminists freak out whenever they find a woman that's sexualized in any way, or even show even the slightest bit of cleavage. But then they want to be at topless beaches, want to show off their putrid bodies, and think it's an oppressive male patriarchal culture when they can't flaunt their wrinkly tits everywhere.
And when Bayonetta starts moving, it's the player who has the power to control her sexuality as a weapon throughout the game, both literally and figuratively. She has an assortment of special moves called torture attacks, which involve devices meant to suggest BDSM, and look like something you might expect to see in an exaggerated stereotype of a sex dungeon. But these sexualized moves have nothing to do with sex. They just obliterate her enemies.
Let's just take a listen to that one more time.
But these sexualized moves have nothing to do with sex. They just obliterate her enemies.
Okay, One more.
But these sexualized moves have nothing to do with sex. They just obliterate her enemies.
That's the fucking point! She's a character that uses her sexuality to her advantage. I know that's an extremely difficult concept for you to grasp, but believe it or not, she doesn't whore around with everyone. She uses what she's got to give herself an edge over her enemies. I don't know the exact reason why, but the level of self-awareness in people on the far left and the far right have actually dwindled to near non-existence over the past several years. It's actually amazing to me that someone can literally directly contradict what they're saying and not have the fucking ability to see that what they're saying is inherently stupid. Wow, that's actually how everyone feels about you. I mean, I know you were trying to go for comedy there, but everyone goes to your videos with the immediate assumption that they're going to come across something inherently stupid. And considering that everything you make is just about impossible to listen to without pausing multiple times to eviscerate every little thing you say or do, your little half-assed attempt at being funny really didn't get you anywhere.
In these ways, the game deliberately links Bayonetta's sexuality to power, selling a version of sexual objectification that we're all supposed to feel good about and find empowering. Every aspect of Bayonetta's existence, from the way the camera is magnetically drawn to her sexualized body parts to the pole dance reward for completing the game, is expertly designed to be sexually affirming and satisfying for a presumed straight male audience.
Okay, this whole presumed straight male audience bullshit is getting on my nerves. Whether the developers intended for only males to play the game or not is completely irrelevant. First and foremost, you can't prove beyond all reasonable doubt that the intentions of the developer were to market the game specifically towards men. Second, whether they did or not doesn't matter, because even so, women can like the game just as much as men. Aesthetics aside, if the game is fun, people won't care. Take Dust and Elysian Tale, for instance. While I'm not really a big fan of the whole anthropomorphic animal aesthetic, except for Fidget, who's seriously one of the best video game characters ever, the incredibly addicting hack and slash gameplay, good music, and extremely well-drawn visuals, seriously, how was this made by one guy? Kept me invested the whole way through. I know that you think gamers really care about looks, but again, you aren't a gamer. This has been demonstrably proven time and time again, and thus you're woefully unable to understand that at the end of the day, gamers care more about gameplay, content, and replay value than anything else.
Some gaming fans have come up with all sorts of ridiculous defenses for the sexualized costumes female characters are often made to wear, like the idea that they dress in these outfits as a tactic to help them distract their male opponents.
Wait, hold up. Let's rewind a little bit here.
But these sexualized moves have nothing to do with sex. They just obliterate her enemies. But these sexualized moves have nothing to do with sex. They just obliterate her enemies. But these sexualized moves have nothing to do with sex.
What the fuck? Did you read over your script before recording this? Did you edit the video? Did it not occur to you at any point in the writing, recording, and editing process of making this that you already defeated this exact same point 2 minutes ago? It's not an excuse that gamers make just to get more sex in video games. It's an actual fucking intentional thing that various video game characters do. You acknowledged this 2 minutes ago. 2! How are you this incompetent?
The super intelligent AI companion Cortana from the Halo franchise has always been depicted as naked.
No, she hasn't. All you have to do is type Cortana into a Google image search and you can find iterations of her that aren't.
And when asked about why this is, franchise director Frank O'Connor said, "One of the reasons she does it is to attract and demand attention, and she does it to put people off so they are on their guard when they're talking to her, and that she has the upper hand in those conversations. It's kind of almost like the opposite of that nightmare you have where you go to school in the nude and you're terrified and embarrassed. She's kind of projecting that back out to her audience and winning intellectual points as a result." Meanwhile, male AIs in the Halo universe do wear clothing. The idea of them trying to win intellectual points by walking around naked is ridiculous. But we rarely question the extremely widespread association of sexualization and power when it's applied to female characters.
Okay, Anita, here's something to think about. There are a total of 3 AI characters in the Halo games. 3. No one cares about Roland. He's not a compelling character or even a good character in general. Then there's Serena, another character that no one cares about from a game that serves to be pretty much just a ridiculous fan fiction. Then there's Cortana, the only AI that actually matters and arguably one of the most important characters in the franchise. One who does, in fact, use that to her advantage, both in the books and in the games. And guess what? She's still a strong female character, or at least she was, before Brian Reed murdered the entire Halo franchise. Fuck you. Just fuck you. Never write anything again.
Sometimes, however, as in the case of Quiet for Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, developers build convoluted and absurd tales about a character's past into the game in an attempt to justify their blatant sexualization.
Oh my god, it's a Metal Gear Solid game! Trying to dissect the series through the bounds of logic and reason is fucking impossible. The game's story is a gigantic clusterfuck that makes about as much sense as a Mexican voting for Donald Trump. In other words, not at all.
So, you see, she can't wear clothing because she breathes through her skin.
Okay, seriously, stop it. Your failure at being funny in a vain attempt to feel more relatable to 1 or 2 people that actually agree with you is cringeworthy at best. Maybe if you wanted to come off as a cool person, you shouldn't have started off your career with being a cunt.
Out of all the arguments that are tossed out to defend the impractical and objectifying clothing that women are made to wear in games, there's one in particular that I hear the most often, and that's perhaps the most pernicious. That argument is, maybe that's what she wants to wear, which is ridiculous.
Did you hear that? It's ridiculous to think that women would want to wear something sexualized of their own free will. Can you believe it? It's ridiculous! Oh my god, yeah. I mean, it's not like you're gonna go down to the beach and see a whole lot of bitches wearing next to nothing. Oh no. Or we can go to a high school where they wear just as sexually promiscuous clothing for the sole purpose of garnering attention. You know, something that's their choice.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. It's almost as if they want to wear that.
Holy shit, you're right. Why the fuck would that be the case? I mean, come on. Women never want to be sexualized ever. That's so unrealistic.
I know, right? Isn't that so unrealistic?